Okay, so this is going to be how to make a crochet leaf. This is what it looks like. This one I happened to just do up not too long ago, and it's made out of Tunisian. You can see that it's the same on both sides. It's really kind of a fun little, um, let me see if I can adjust my camera. Oh, crap. No, that's not going to work. Okay, how am I going to do this without dumping my... Okay, I'm trying to do this the best I can without dumping my whole camera on the table. It's a very awkward angle here that I have. Very hard to use under these circumstances. Oh, okay, let me see if maybe this will work. Okay, so I'm gonna undo this. I'm gonna unravel this right now. That's what I'm doing, is unraveling. So what hook am I using? I'm using a 6.6 millimeter, 4.25 millimeter, a size 6. It says 6.6, so it's a 4.2 millimeter crochet hook. So I'm going to attach the yarn onto the crochet hook, and so I'm going to make a chain of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now I'm going to be working under, this will be my second loop, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, yarn over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to flip this around this direction, and I'm going to go under, which loop am I going to go under? I think this one. I need to get 7 on this one. I mean, it's going to work out no matter how we do it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, we ended up with one extra one. I think that's because I did this loop here at the end. Okay, so now I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So I'm flipping it at this one end here every time. So now I'm going to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is what is supposed to happen. Now I'm flipping it around here. Hang on, I'm going to see what's going on in the comment section here. I've got to mute my computer here. I'm going over here to live to see what you guys are saying. Okay. Okay, so hello, bruh. Okay, B-R-U-H is the spelling. Mason Estenval, hello. Oh, happy Columbus Day. Today is Columbus Day, so you guys know. So Mason Estenval is repeating some words. I'm not going to repeat because it goes to rap music that I don't like, so I'm not going to repeat those letters. So you might be incentivized to repeat those numbers, and I'm just not going to repeat them. Because what I looked up, it goes to some nasty rap music, and I'm not interested in promoting that. You know, you can go ahead and write the numbers because I'm not going to censor them on my channel, but I'm not going to promote a nasty rap artist that has just decided to utilize some numbers because um, they're gaming the system in a sense of abusing it. So um, yeah, well, you can talk. I mean, Jesus is not out there doing this nasty stuff that the rap artists are doing now, is he? I mean, I know that Jesus has a lot of issues and church has a lot of issues. You know, so um, I mean, I always kind of thought, like, how come we can't say that 10 Light Star is the best or crochet is the best or something like that instead of like some mass, um, what are we going to call that? A mass delusion? Well, yeah, Jesus is a mass delusion. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3. A mass hallucination is Jesus. 4, 5, 6. I'm fine with Jesus in many ways. I mean, Jesus is supposed to be trying to do good things, not bad things. Did we forget that? That Jesus is supposed to be doing good things, not bad things. Jesus does not scam people either. So some of you doing on YouTube here doing stuff in the name of Jesus and you're scamming, it's like, my goodness sakes. Okay, so we've got Yesenia Trevino. Okay, so I've got 6 on here, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're going to get 10 in here, at least 10. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And I believe another thing too, now we're turning here at the end. Now, and so you can see the difference here of the leaves. Do you see the different design elements here on each side? Really pretty, isn't it? I think so. I think it is. And so everybody is onto the scams related to fundraising and all this stuff, you know, and individual people trying to do the same thing, which individual people are never going to pull that off very well unless you have some backing by some other type of entity. And so I'm not going to say who that is. You guys can say it in the comment section because I think you know who I'm referencing. Related to fundraising. And okay, yes, we did just turn here. Now we just did turn here, and now I've got a point down here. So I've got a turning and a point right here. So that's what I did, was I turned with a point. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, I'm talking about the turning point here on my leaf. I have a turning point here on my leaf, which that's what I'm doing here with this leaf. It's a turning point. Every crocheter has a turning point and spaces between. These are things that I have said before, that we have spaces between things. So for example, when you build a building, you have spaces between the walls. And so like here with crochet, I have spaces between. So I've opened up see that? You see my finger right there? We have spaces between. And so these are things that I have said before related to what is space, because a lot of people were taking space just out into outer space. And I've said, my goodness, on crochet, I have spaces that are between things, and we have spaces between a lot of things. And so, I mean, related to the context of what is a space. Okay, so I want to kind of see if I can make a point here. Each end of my points is a turning point right here, is what we have, you know. So I have to wonder, why are these great big groups doing what they do, you know, related to fundraising? And it's like, um, you know, they're not creating jobs for us. They're just not. They're not creating jobs for us. They're creating money for their own self. That's what they're doing. You know, so, okay, so do you see the leaf? Oh, this is a beautiful leaf here, actually. Hello, David in XE. You see this leaf? I love this leaf. Now we can continue on. I'm probably old enough to be your mom or your grandma, I would imagine. I'm an old lady. So, shall we make one more? Let's make one more and have it attached. Let's have it attached here. How old are you, David? Now, there could be some people I'm old enough to be their sibling. Okay, so let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we're going to make... Now, I was just thinking, too, I could actually make a star out of... A star person like the other star person I made the other day. I could do a star person out of this, too, or make a complete flower. But I like this. We have a different special effect on each side here. And so I'm going to start off the same way and do, that's number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, David, you didn't tell me how old you are. How old are you, David? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now I'm going to turn, and I'm going to pick this one up right here. It might give me an extra one, but that's okay, because it's still going to work even if we end up with more than 10. It's still going to work. 1. Okay, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now the thing here with this is we want to use up our 10 in here with this chain, so everything is linked together, and we're gradually doing that to create the leaf shape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, now we're at our turning point right here. Yeah, that's where that comes from. We're at our turning point here. And isn't that funny that some nonprofit and big bully has to come in and take away the views from little old crochet ladies? You know, and, oh, give us money, give us money. One, you know, it's an old, tired old man. 1, 2, let's see if we can get under the loop. 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 7 and 8. I know on CNBC, they actually had, what was it, something they sponsored for a while, Stitches and Needles or something like that. And I started questioning if it was even a real company. They had something just called Stitches and Needles, and then some train thing or something on there. And it's like, what is this stuff? Now they don't even utilize any of that anymore. They don't even use it. And so I just started noticing all these. It's like, well, are these real companies or fake companies, fake simulator companies on CNBC? You know, when he always mentions about a charitable trust, it has me thinking that it's a simulation type of a simulator, like a simulator, something that's not real, but it's simulating reality, but it's actually not real. But you can use a simulator to actually throw in a whole bunch of advertising into the model and even be a disruptor as far as that goes. You can throw that into a simulation. It's a simulation, not a simulation, but it's a simulator. A simulator, like when you go on a ride, it's a simulator. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And a very nice young woman actually reminded me of that the other day. The simulators. And so, I mean, there's all kinds of simulations that we have, simulators. I believe we have simulators taking place on the internet right now, too. Simulations of something which could solve problems, maybe, or I'm not sure yet. I don't know where some simulators go with things. So we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, we're up here with 8. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Well, you know, like airplane pilots have to go in a simulator. They fly in a simulator, and oh my goodness, I forgot about Microsoft Flight Simulator. Oh my goodness, the Microsoft Flight Simulator. I tell you, that was a game I loved playing, was Microsoft Flight Simulator. And we actually had something a little bit similar on Google Earth at one time. We had yeah, on the big Earth. It was not the one they have on maps right now. It was a different one, and we could fly around the globe. That was a lot of fun. I always thought that was a lot of fun. I should look. I might still have it on there, and I could just go fly in different places. And I always said, my goodness, this would be kind of a fun game this would be a fun thing to play, just fly into different places around the world in an airplane. And, you know, there were varying degrees of Microsoft Flight Simulator, which that was a game on the original Windows, but I don't have it on mine. And then they wanted to monetize everything. I think that was Microsoft's downfall, was wanting to monetize everything. Because it's like, well, I always this is one of the things, when I first got on the internet, one of the things that I always said is, my gosh, Microsoft wants to monetize everything. I'm a woman. I have no money coming in. And these are things I voiced in my head. I put them on the back burner, but I still remember them. I voiced them in my head. Netscape Navigator had a pay browser, and they wanted us to pay to use Netscape Navigator. And so that was the thing I always thought was kind of weird with a lot of these Silicon Valley. Back then it wasn't called Silicon Valley. Well, was it maybe? I don't remember now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And so with Silicon Valley, and having to pay for everything, and technically everything is not Silicon Valley. It just can't be. It's different people who are developing browsers and apps. We can't just blame Silicon Valley for everything. I mean, I know it's a buzzword that people love to use, but it's the I still call them angel investors. It's the people who've raised a little bit of money and they want to try to get in on the gold rush. I think they're going to have a really tough time right now, because I don't see much of a future right now, because if you can't make the model profitable, and create real jobs, it's not a very good business model. Okay, I'm going to add one more here and just connect these together like this. That's what I'm going to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, that worked out really good. Oh my goodness sakes. When one side is a little bit bigger than the other side here, it almost looks like what did I do? I love the curve on these leaves. I totally love the curve on these leaves. I could make a pea pod out of this one if I made tiny little pea pods. Did I maybe miss a turn? And I could have missed one of my turning points. So anyway, but this works though. So you can see it looks like a leaf here that we have. And you may get hacked. Who may get hacked? Is that threats out of the gamers? Because I know the gaming community is nasty. They're just plain old, a bunch of nasty old shits. I don't care how old you are. You're just a bunch of nasty old shits is what you are. Because if you get hacked, you know that I'm thinking, if you do the hacking thing that you guys call hacking, you should go to prison. I'm going to say that you may get hacked. Turning Point MAGA, you may get hacked. If you're going to do that to people and you're going to call it hacking, you should go to prison. If you're going to steal money from people in that sense. So yes, in crochet we have turning points. You know, with cars, don't we have turning points with cars where we have a turning point? So when you go to a stop sign and you make a left or a right turn, that is a turning point, isn't it? It is a turning point. Your left or your right is a turning point. You go forward, you stop, you back up, you turn your wheel to another point, you stop. Geometric shapes are turning points. Oh, you know, so the little circle things that I've done, they're turning points. When you have a, what is it, the protractor, the compass? Yeah, they're turning points. So, yeah. And so people who are fundraising off of others making content, I think that's pretty shady, you know, because then we're saying the word turning point. So if I use the word turning point over and over again, that does not mean I have anything to do with a turning point that is fundraising. That just means that I'm just using a word turning point because of the fact that, well, in a microwave, you have a turning point with the turntable inside. That's a turning point that turns the microwave food inside of the microwave. And so, you know, so then there's the lazy people. The lazy rich people is what they are. I mean, call them what they are, lazy rich people who want to capitalize off of other people's work. They don't want to do any work. They're lazy. They don't want to do any work. They just want to fundraise. And I was listening to, I know I'm going off on a diatribe right now, but I was listening to Fox News last night, and I know I'm not supposed to, but I did for a tiny bit. And I'm not really fond of the guy who had Eric on there. He had Eric on there, and Eric was very angry. My gosh, he was so angry, and he was talking really, really fast. And he said that he had like 112 court appearances and lawsuits against himself. And he said he never in a million years would have realized that he himself, this is Eric Trump saying this now, that he himself became one of the most hated men in America. So he said him and his brother just wanted to take over their dad's company. He said he didn't realize that it was going to create such a big problem. Now, he said that there was people who would go inside of Trump Hotel, they would buy a margarita, and then they would be slapped with the emoluments clause. They would be told that they were violating the emoluments clause, which is true. Absolutely, it's true, because you're not supposed to have any business whatsoever when you're the president of the United States of America. He has all kinds of business. And so Eric Trump is very angry, and he's referencing something saying that they have lost all of their business. And it's like, well, that was kind of weird that he's saying that, because they still have it right now from what it appears to me. You know, they still have Truth Social, they still have Turning Point. Turning Point is a fundraiser, and somehow Donald Trump is actually, he is behind that. And I know when he ran for president the first time, he actually fundraised money, and then they said that he was going to donate it to the veterans, and they said the veterans wouldn't take it because it's like it's a conflict of interest. And so then you have these rich people then on YouTube and other places, they're like, oh, the veterans want to be homeless. It's like, well, no, they don't want to be homeless. They just don't want to be bought. They're not for sale. The military is not for sale. So there's a conflict of interest between corporations and our United States military. I see that right now. There's a huge conflict of interest and a conflict of what someone sees as reality and someone else who sees with rose-colored glasses on. And when you live in that affluent lifestyle, I'm beginning to think that they get completely checked out of reality. When they're just working for money, they're completely checked out of reality with real people because they don't want to be around real people. Isn't that what Alex Jones did when he was talking about cremating care, when he had that thing at Bohemian Grove in California that's near San Francisco somewhere, and he snuck in and he did all that footage and back in, well, this was footage on one of those old cameras way, way, way before. Actually it looked like it was footage out of an amusement park more than anything. So I don't know if Alex Jones took something that was at an amusement park where a bunch of people were at and there was something going on for Halloween, and then they just kind of jump cutted the footage and said that there was some camp for rich people, which really maybe there really wasn't. So maybe those presidents were just kind of put in there, and you know how movies are made. So, like for example, if I had access, I'm going to use this as an analogy and an example. Now, if I could take and go into different channels on YouTube that was like stock footage that maybe YouTube owned the footage. And then I could make a less than 3 minute video out of all that footage. I could create probably a really interesting story with a different spin just from footage that someone else has created and make it look like it's real, but it's not. And that's all they're doing. That's all they are doing is creating footage like that in the film industry. So they're taking old stuff. Now I can do that with my crochet stuff. Like later on, I can go in and create a short. And actually, YouTube does create a short for me. It's called a live highlight. And so it creates a short little video that is, I can add some more metadata in there to actually get it to kind of show up next to this video, or hope maybe the thing is it's to kind of add a little bit of extra help to my own channel. But those of us who are not part of a network, who are not part of money people, things become really, really hard for us on the internet. And so I like to tell the truth about what's going on. It's not that I'm being discouraging to anybody, because I'm still here plugging along. I'm not monetized, but the thing I'm saying is it's very, very hard. So unless you have, now the gaming people, what they do is they just make the same content. They upload it on a bunch of different channels. Their business model followed that of legacy media, which includes Disney and Chromecast. I think Comcast was doing that. Well, I don't know that Comcast, not necessarily their own self was doing it, but the networks inside were, and then they would blame YouTube. So they uploaded their own content. Because I remember there was a toy guy. I can't remember his name though. He had like 50,000 subscribers on his channel, and all he was doing was uploading copyright footage, and so they were telling me that that's all they were doing was uploading copyright footage, and then they would blame YouTube for it. They would say YouTube is doing it when YouTube wasn't doing it. And so it's just like they went on this mission, through the networks to trash the internet for their own self-preservation, and blame YouTube for doing what they were doing their own self. Now let's take and apply that to the current president. Okay, so he's taken, and he actually won becoming president by saying that people were taking him to court. Well, let's say for a minute no one was taking him to court. Let's say he was just making fake court appearances just for TV's sake, just for TV's purposes, to create drama. What if that's all that was going on? I mean, isn't that a plausible theory? Or he's actually, him and Elon Musk are in a conspiracy, and the both of them have used their billions and billions of dollars to pay for illegals to come into the United States to do cheap work in their hotels. Now, Elon Musk doesn't have hotels, so I would have to strike him out of this one. But now Donald Trump does have hotels. He has investments, I believe. Oh, yeah, he has his Trump hotel. So he does have an invested interest in hotels. And he's a real estate guy and he makes money off of real estate. So he does have an invested interest off of real estate, and the price is going higher because that's something that over the decades that they said, oh, when you buy a house, you're investing in your house. Now, I see two types of investments. I see an investment where you buy a house and you live in it your whole life. And that's an investment because once the house is paid off, right now it's not realistic for anybody, but once a house gets paid off, then you don't have to pay rent and you don't have a mortgage. But if you spread it over 30 years, it becomes very similar to renting, isn't it? So you're basically buying your house and renting at the same time when you're paying a mortgage and the prices keep going up. You're buying and renting at the same time because the brokerage companies and the real estate companies have this expectation of making money off the American public. And that's the thing they don't want people to know about. That's the thing that when I say they, I'm speaking specifically of the money people, such as the current president, people who are on Wall Street. They don't want the American public to see this or to learn about this because of the fact that then it spoils their money game of where they're making the money off the majority of the public who has no money, but then they think the American public is stupid. Donald said that. He says the American public is so stupid they'll vote for me. That turned out to be true. I didn't vote for him. I wrote in my own name. I was stupid in another way. I just wrote in my name because I'm so stupid that I didn't want to vote for the president. I wrote in my own name. And then I just don't vote. I'm stupid in that way by just not voting because of the fact that I don't want to vote for something that is not going to work for me. That's not, I don't want to buy a bought politician, as in bought, where we have to pay for a politician to do things for us. I think the politicians should be working for the American public. I have seen some of them, quite a few of them actually, that I have a true faith belief that they are out to help the American public. I'm not going to mention any names or anything like that because I don't do that. I'm not interested in promoting any politicians' names or anything like that. I don't see Donald Trump as a real politician. He functions under self-corporate private governance, which means that it's an enclosed ecosphere, very similar to religion, is a closed ecosphere who doesn't want the government involved with anything. And so that's where I'm at with that. Because I see a lot of bad practices taking place that are not helping the broad American public overall. And as time passes on, we have inflation, prices getting higher, and I don't know when this is going to end, for people to be able to get a place to live. I don't know how other people are doing it. I just don't. I don't know how people right now who are young, 18 years old, I don't see how they are supposed to make it because of the fact that prices are so expensive. And no one should have to live with someone else just to get by. Be that a young person, they should be able to live by themselves. They need to learn to live by themselves and take care of themselves and not have someone else living with them unless they want to. If they want to have a roommate, that's fine. If they want to, but at the same time, when a person lives single, things aren't affordable. We know that things are not affordable for anyone, not for single women, not for women in general, not for women who are getting divorced. So tell me, what is equality? I don't know what equality is because it does not exist for women outside of marriage. Church has pushed that and pushed that and pushed that narrative for a very long time. Now, I am the person nobody wants to hear from either because of the fact that if I was to talk about this message on a broad public spectrum, then it's going to get young women thinking. It's going to get young women thinking about things. Young women, I believe, some of them are upset about things already. Some of them that have been brought up in the foster care system, I understand their anger. Thankfully I wasn't brought up in the foster care system, but in some ways the foster care system can be kind of similar to marriage, and I give them that, So I have loads of respect for young women who have been brought up in the foster care system. I'm with them. I hear them, And so when I say things, I think they should be taken care of. But I'm still going to say some off the wall things at times where when I say women shouldn't have health care. I have to say it that way because of the fact that that's how it's designed to be right now. Women shouldn't have health care. A single woman shouldn't have health care. Because that's what's happening right now. As prices get higher, then that means Medicare is defunded. That means Social Security is defunded. That means the whole government in general is defunded. That's what's happening. So it's not that it's not that the government is actually defunding these things. The government is allowing corporations to come in and rape, pillage, and plunder the American taxpayers. That is what's happening. I personally, myself, if I had a magic wand and I could wave it and say, all of us should have health care, I would make it happen. But I can't do that. Now, myself, after having this migration thing take place, it's like if the United States had a universal health care, I thought that's what we were getting under Obama. So for me, I have it's kind of like the lemon law and buyer's remorse. It's like, well, we didn't get that. We didn't get that at all. So all we've gotten is inflation, which means that the corporations came in, they have their hand out. They're not creating real jobs at all. They're just not. And they're just sitting on the money, and they're not helping the American public. So businesses right now are folding up. The small mom and pop businesses don't exist anymore. So it's not just and so I get a little irritated sometimes when I hear the Native Indian ancestors talk about how when they say, oh, the white man came in and did this and did that. It's like, no, inflation did that. It wasn't no white man that did it. I mean, you might want to look at who the people are doing it. Barack Obama did it. He did it too. I mean, he came in and he put, well, medical is a little bit different though, because of the fact you have to have all these licenses. You're supposed to do certain things, but it sounds like there was some loopholes that were put in, with that. But now when I talk about mom and pop business, there's some places, for example, tourism. Tourism, we should all just get used to saying, is not a real job. Tourism is not a real job because of the fact that tourism is something that people do when times are good for everyone. So then that's when, if times are good for everyone, then people should be able to do tourism and travel. You should be able to have amusement parks. In the meantime, we should not be funding amusement parks because the amusement parks, the prices are just going higher and higher and higher and higher to get a ticket to go into the amusement park. Why should my taxpayer dollars be going to fund a bunch of kids or to be funding acting college? And didn't they have a thing about that with Lori Loughlin a few years ago, and how her daughter got in on some soccer scholarship to some college, and her name was appeared somewhere, and her daughter wasn't even attending college. She basically bought her daughter a college degree. So, and her daughter never even attended college or played soccer. So how do you pull that off? So this is those things where they make all those websites. And so when you see these websites, oh, I saw a website the other day. This one was hilarious. I wonder if I can find it now. Let me look and see if I can find it. And it had a picture of Barack Obama on it. He probably doesn't even know he's on it. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see what the website, oh, it might be this one about male manipulation. Let me go down here and see if this is it. Yes, I found it. I can't believe I found it. I did. Okay. Someone just took and put a bunch of, okay, I'm going to tell you where this is at. It's called 10 Gaslight Resistant Phrases Every Woman Needs to Survive Male Manipulation. It's on a website called Medium. Up there is a phrase that says women hold the flame. It's a member only story, so I can't read the whole thing. Sarah Barrett is, it says 6-minute read. Sarah Barrett is the person who wrote the story. And so, but I scrolled down to the bottom. So when I scroll down to the bottom, there's all these people who are listed on here, including Barack Obama, as though he's some sort of endorser of this, which, I mean, I can see the wiggle room of where they are saying, talking about this, related to gaslighting the country into affordable health care. I see where they're going with this. Now, there's another guy, John Krakauer, New York, best-time-selling author. Never heard of him before. Kim Scott, author of Radical Candor. J.A. Westenberg, technology and politics writer. Roger Martin. I don't know any of these people. Roger Martin, professional strategy advisor, former dean of something. Julie Zuo, former VP of product design, Facebook. Ryan Holiday, best-selling author and entrepreneur. Dr. Jess Steyer, public health scientist. I don't know what would a public health scientist do? What in the world is that anyway? What is a public health scientist? Can someone rationalize that to me, how that would even be a job of anything? You just say you're a public health scientist, and what exactly is that? I mean, because your name is just on, you're just in a circle at the bottom of a page. I mean, that's all they have to do to get a bunch of views, is just plug in a bunch of presidents at the bottom and lead people to believe that they're part of that group, or they're endorsing it. And that's kind of goes into the territory of when Dr. Oz and Oprah Winfrey got upset when they were advertising the acai berry juice and on the internet. And so they were getting upset over that because they were saying, well, that's not one of our products, and the internet has our names and faces all over the place, and we're not a part of this. And so they were always going to Congress all the time. And it's like, well, the rest of us don't have that big money power to go to Congress to complain about the internet, that that our faces could be stolen in some capacity or another. But we're not, those of us on the internet, on YouTube, we're not mega famous either. We're not influencers of anything, other than saying and expressing how the big celebrities actually don't care about the internet in any way whatsoever, so, and they just wanted to influence their way to have more money. I mean, they were taking out loans, for crying out loud. The celebrity companies, Ellen DeGeneres said this. Ellen DeGeneres, on one of her last shows, she literally said, she says, you mean we can't take loans from banks anymore to make movies? So this means they were taking loans from banks. Now, why should the American taxpayers bail out Hollywood? Can you tell me that? I mean, because everybody has their hand out. We have inflation. Oh, another thing I saw recently too, I watched a video yesterday, and it was talking about Los Angeles literally sliding into the Pacific Ocean because of the grade that it's on. And so they said it's a very, very slow grade, but they said that there is some land that just came out of nowhere. And the guy looking at it is a geologist. Now, I do believe the geologists, and so there's something going on there. They said they don't think it's just the earthquakes, it's something more of a landslide that's taking place. And so they said sometimes it happens quickly and sometimes it may slow down, just depending. So, but they said they feel like it's actually lifting up out of the ocean. So that's what they said with this little land area that that was underwater, and now all of a sudden it's out of water, out of the water. So he said the only thing that could happen is something shifted a little bit and pushed this little area up out of the water from underneath the continental plates. And so, I mean, I know there's some interesting things, and video surfaces some really interesting things taking place in Los Angeles, as where maybe Los Angeles is not the best place for people to be living. You know, when you have millions and millions of people, maybe there needs to be a redistribution of people. I've always said that with large cities. There does need to be a redistribution of people around the United States. And what would it hurt for some places in the United States to actually build some houses inland or something, you know, in some rural areas, you know, not making giant gargantuan sized cities, but sort of little self-contained areas that are kind of nice, and you know, where people don't have to be crowded upon each other. You know, that's kind of my thinking, having grown up in the Midwest. It's like I don't like the crowded city life. I mean, it's like where I'm at right now is not good, you know, because that's what they did, and that's what people who just want to make money off of the American public, they just want to crowd everybody into one small space, make a bunch of money off of them, and then if they can't make money anymore, then it gets abandoned. That's what happens. And then I believe the government probably has some uh, maybe some bargaining power in some way to get some debts somehow. Well, it's kind of related to the Letitia James thing, but it sounds to me that the president now is after Letitia James. He's after her. That's the stories that I've been seeing, is that he's after her. He don't like her at all. Because she said she wanted to take property from him, and then they were supposed to give property to those other two broads that were out of Atlanta or something. What was their name? Shay Moss and Ruby Freeman. And they claimed that there was some property that was supposed to be given to them for something. And it's like, I mean, this property redistribution thing to me, and just throwing that out there in the media, there's something sounds shady about that. Just saying, okay, well, these people are going to get some property because this happened to them with some defamation. It's like, well, gosh, there's a lot of people who have had defamation of character as far as that goes. And it's almost like they were calling Letitia James and Queena or something like that, and Queefa or Queenfa, like Antifa, like she's Queen Latifah or something like that. So I don't know if Letitia James is a real attorney general or not, or if she's a fake attorney general or using a fake name possibly. I'm not sure. You know, I have no idea. And so there's something about her that is not quite right that's going on. So I guess we'll just have to sit it out and wait and see if she actually does go to prison. Because that's what they're saying now, is that the president wants Letitia James to go to prison, because they were saying she was running her campaign very similar. She was running a campaign similar to how Trump was running his, of go to jail or something like that, or I don't know, running it through the court system, weaponizing the court system. And so, you know, but I actually, my thought process is that inflation weaponizes the court system. When you just raise prices higher, inflation, Wall Street is weaponizing the court system. It's weaponizing families in the United States. And so if there's not a fair redistribution of wealth, then the money people are weaponizing the family life and the court system against all people, and even people who are on welfare, because of the fact that how are people supposed to survive? And it's like, you guys are welcome to think about this and use my words if you would like to, once you think about it, and if you have a similar understanding. That's why I'm sharing this stuff with you, because these are just things that I have thought about. And so I repeat things in my brain over and over again, so I comprehend it. So and I'm not repeating something in my brain just to comprehend something that's not there. I'm comprehending something that makes sense, because it's like we all have little points in our brains where we remember the price of what something was. You know, for me, there's a few. It's like, okay, there was a candy bar, a great big payday candy bar that was those nougat peanut candy bars that were really good. They had a little nougat in the middle, nougat caramel, and we could get one of those, a huge one, for 25 cents. Now, the thing is, I was a kid, so maybe they looked a lot larger than what they really were because I was a kid. But actually, I think they were larger. I mean, they were what, like maybe 7, 8 inches long. They were huge candy bars back then. It wasn't just that I thought they were huge because I was a kid. They really were huge candy bars. Now they're small candy bars. It seems like they just make them smaller because of shrinkflation. And so, yeah. Hello, Fazia Kashif. Oh, you're from Pakistan. Okay, you're. Well, can you tell me? Are you still here, Fazia Kashif? Are you still here? I'm wondering. Are you still here? Oh, I'm making a leaf. I'm making a crochet leaf here. It looks sort of like a tiny bikini, actually. It would work for pea pods too, to put, if you made little tiny peas in them. It would work for pea pods. I could actually, if I went back on down one more time, I could actually attach them from the center here and make a flower or a star person. Or I could just make a whole bunch of leaves together like ivy, like this. Um, Now, is it true? I have a question I'd like to ask you, Fazia. Is it true that you don't like people from India, that Pakistan has problems with India? Is that true? I didn't realize that, because I didn't realize that Pakistan and India used to be together at one time. And I just learned that recently, that Pakistan and India were one country at one time. And so now we've learned that Pakistan and India don't like each other, and they have a problem with each other. And now they've had little bits of their own fighting going on, um, in their region. And, so I was thinking, why would you guys do that? Because you're the same people. Pakistan and Muslim people are the same people, whether you believe in a God or not. Pakistani people are very loving. I know. Well, everybody says that. Even the Muslim people say they're very loving too. And we have people in the United States who say they're loving, but at the same time, their actions do not show that. And so, I would like to think that the majority of people are caring, um, and that there's a higher entity of nonsense taking place in some of these countries, of things that is outside the control of the people. I kind of think that that's what's taking place. Because you know what I see is that I see that nobody wants war, because I have a belief that here, I'm in the United States, and I have a belief that people from over in the Middle East are our ancestors. No matter how much war takes place, I have a belief that people in the Middle East are our ancestors in some way. So if someone moves from, well, it would be like if a person from the United States moves and lives over in India or Pakistan, and then they have children over there, then that means that political issues, but people are both country, are very sweet. So which ones follow Sharia law, though? Because we keep hearing that people who follow the Quran do Sharia law. And Sharia law, I believe that Sharia law exists inside of the United States under Christianity. I believe that there is um, elements and factions of Sharia law under Christianity that is masked as Christianity. I mean, I can see that. If you're reading the Bible, everything in the Bible exposes Sharia law. You know, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. And it's just that someone does that stuff any um without any um fairness to it, you know. So they don't know for sure that the person that they're judging actually did what the crime that happened. They don't know that for sure. It's just that one person's word against another person's word, and then they expect eye for an eye. And you know, it seems so cruel. All paths go to God. So you all believe in God now. I so people in Pakistan believe in God. That is quite a shift. That's a big shift because I was thinking that people in Pakistan, I thought they believed in Allah. So now they believe in God now. So they've shifted to believing in God now. I mean, because I think God and Allah are the same thing. It's just, you know, both words mean the same thing. And, you know, every country around the world has mean people. I mean, that's something that, um, I, you know, believe and know for as a fact. Maybe I should read in the Mormon Bible. Maybe I should actually, start a new live stream. Would anybody be interested if I read the Mormon Bible? And I'm not preaching anything from it because I'm not Mormon. I'm actually a non-believer. I'm a non-believer of religion, all religions. But I will read things for educational purposes. You know, it's just like if I read a encyclopedia, that's for educational purposes, and it has fairy tales in it. So when I open an encyclopedia, it has fairy tales in it. Maybe I should see if there's any free versions of encyclopedias on the internet. That would be kind of fun. I could get some really awesome ideas out of a free version of encyclopedias on the internet if they still exist, because I used to have a Quran. I don't have it anymore. I used to have one. I have looked at the Quran. Yes, I have looked at the Quran. I don't see anything wrong with it. Um, and I've made some comparisons. I wish I had my Quran, actually. I wish I still had it, because I have 3 Bibles now, or I don't anymore. I only have 2. And you know, I mean, the Christian Bible is easy to get a hold of. The Quran is not so easy to get a hold of. Now, there is a version on the internet, I believe, of the Quran. I'm not sure. It's a little bit harder to find on the internet. Um, but I have read the Quran before and looked at it. That doesn't mean that I believe it. I'm reading it and making comparisons and analogies to other religions, and that's all I'm doing. But I have read it before. Oh, at one time, someone from Pakistan actually sent me a Quran, and so I actually had sent some crochet hooks to a woman who I believe. I'm going to share this with you guys. I believe that she lived in Osama bin Laden's compound. I always thought that I sent some crochet hooks to a woman who was one of Osama bin Laden's wives, because they said that they found some of my crochet videos on Osama bin Laden's computer. And so it always had me thinking, my gosh, imagine if one of Osama bin Laden's wives was watching my crochet videos. And lo and behold, I mean, it's like, lo and behold, I mean, the CIA actually had a list and my crochet videos. There was probably like 12 of them that showed up on Osama bin Laden's computer at the time that he was taken out by Navy SEAL Team 6. Um, Maybe I said too much. I might have said too much and I identified myself because not a lot of people would know that. But it really doesn't matter. I shouldn't feel like I have to go into hiding. But then I'm going to be accused of being a robot and stealing someone else's information, and that I'm not a real person. And I don't know. Yeah, that was an interesting fact. I wonder if that Navy SEAL Team 6, that list was interesting. I would like to read through that list again if I could find it. The Navy SEAL Team 6 and the information that they had related to all the YouTube videos. Oh, you know what else they found on Osama bin Laden's computer? They found pornography. A load of pornography. Osama bin Laden was looking at pornography, and I think some people might have thought that he was selling his wives and not treating them very well. And so I'm not someone who, I don't support pornography at all. I actually think it should be banned. I think it should be I think pornography should be seen as a what's the word they always use? An existential crisis to national security. I think pornography should be seen as an existential crisis to national security. Because people are always tempted, in some ways related to some things. And I think it should be banned, because it leads to human trafficking. And we've had a lot of that lately that's been taking place related to human trafficking. And, it's like, I feel like I can be a good person. This is just my thought personally. I can be a good person without religion. I don't need someone else telling me how I should be. And that's the same thing with the United States news media companies who always want to tell us, "Oh, stop the fighting, stop the fighting. Be nice to your neighbors, be nice to your neighbors." It's like, to me, it's ad nauseum when I hear that. I just want to vomit when I hear the Disney people and all these other people. Oh, life is short. Do things with your relatives. Well, they're not stopping and thinking about people who don't have relatives close by or have no family or for reasons beyond their control can't be around their family. And so they just make me want to vomit when they do that. I'm an adult. I don't need treated like a child. I know I can be a good person without someone else always telling me that I have to be a good person. What is a good person anyway? I get tired of hearing it because there's a lot of people. Well, on the Wizard of Oz, they had what's her face, Aunt May. What was that her name? Auntie M. Auntie M. And she herself was like, "I'm a good Christian, God-fearing woman." You know how they had those weird little voices? You hear that even on the Andy Griffith show. And Aunt B is the same way. And they have these old ladies talking like their weird little high-pitched voices. Yes, and what is it with that? It's sometimes I hear Ethel on, not very often Ethel does it, but there's an element of women, on the Wizard of Oz and Father Knows Best. I don't know if it's because, maybe it's because, in hindsight, I kind of think maybe it's because they're depicted as society treating women as children. And I mean, and I even see that and feel that today. And I'm not in my feelings right now. I'm not in any feelings. Actually, I'm numb. I'm still very, very numb in how I feel, because it's like my thought process on things has been changed forever. With the things that my ex-husband did to me. I mean, my thought process has been changed forever related to our society and what taking care of a person is and what taking care of women is and what equality is. My thoughts have been just changed and shattered forever. It's like, what would have been wrong with me living in a bubble if that's something I wanted to do? What would have been wrong with that? But no, someone else comes along and wants to be a bully to me. I mean, now I watched something else today, and a thing came up. It was about domestic verbal abuse, and so they're going as far as saying verbal abuse is abuse, verbal abuse. So I'm not sure how that works related to the internet and freedom of speech, but I think more of inside the home when you're married to someone, that's a horse of a different color. So when you're being yelled at every day, that's a horse of a different color. Um, I like that phrase from The Wizard of Oz. That just means that it's something a little bit different. We're censored. We're heavily censored on the internet right now, more so than Disney. Disney can probably do a lot more. A lot of other entities can do a lot more than what we can do on the internet right now. So we can't really say anything. And it's never been something that I wanted to do. When I started my crochet channel, I never felt like cursing. But it's like there was these other entities out of, I'm not sure, the nasty rap groups is what I'm going to say, who only wanted us to curse because then it favors them in the algorithm. And it's like, I'm not interested in doing that. I want to talk about crochet. If I want to repeat the word crochet over and over again, I'll just sit on the internet and say crochet, 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 and turn it into a musical. Yeah, and people dancing from some nonsense, just crochet along and along and along and along and along and along. And we never get to the turning point. But that's Donald Trump's company, right? Yeah, it is. So we're just talking about a bunch of stupid stuff and not really learning anything now, are we? Not like this. This isn't, because I always had a vision when I thought of YouTube. My vision, I went to the library. My brain went to the library with YouTube. So over on the left-hand side here, we had kind of like a card catalog of sorts and the search. And we could search for things that actually taught us something. Like today, I sort of taught something here today. I hope I did. I think I did. And now I'm going off on a diatribe because I'm done. But this is really pretty, though. I like how this turned out. It's not completely flat, and it's got all these little dimensions in it. I really like this a lot. And so, all right, how long have I been on here? Oh, 1 hour and 7 minutes. I think I'm done right now. I think I'm done.